Hello team, I am going to show you how to use the cute new little unicorn that you now see in your Google Workspace. This is going to help you to turn PDFs and Google Docs into multiple choice Google Forms so that you can use those for quizzes and assessments in your class. It's a great tool, just requires a few clicks and you will be off instead of having to re-enter every question and answer into a Google Form format if that's how you choose to assess this year. So first thing, you want to make sure you can see your little unicorn. If you can't, please submit a help desk ticket. From there, I'm going to show you first a Google Doc example. So I have a Google Doc here. This is an old portion of a summative assessment that was given in the past. And so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to move this so you can see. You're going to click the Automagical unicorn to the right, and it is already in the document. So once you're there, you have two options. You can draw on the doc in order to show the doc what questions you want to use, if you want to use specific ones. So you just draw out a square there, draw out a square there. Let's say those were the only two questions you wanted. And you're going to select Create Questions, and then you will see them populate. But let's say that you wanted the whole thing, in which case you can then allow Automagical to do its work, and it will identify those questions. If you have typed out your questions neatly with numbers and the response options, I have found that it does work pretty seamlessly. As you can see, the questions have come up to the right that were found in that Google Doc. You then can select Create Form. Once you create the form, it will then populate into your Google Drive, which I will show you in a moment. It does take a minute or two for that process to complete. You can open it directly from there as well, but I want to show you, it is going to populate in the same portion that you opened that doc. So let me refresh my Google Drive here, and we can see now that is there. It also goes ahead and opens up a responses tab for you, spreadsheet for you, which normally you would create in the responses section. So just for reference, you would normally click response and then click the spreadsheet button. It already does that for you. Now in the questions, you can still edit everything. Notice this didn't come in exactly as I would want it, so I might change that. But your questions and answer choices are all here, just as you had typed them on that doc. What you will need to do is go to settings, and you will need to make this a quiz. And then you will need to update those settings from there. Once you've done that, then you can go into questions. You can select answer key, select the actual answer, and change the point values. So you will have to change those settings so that way it works. But other than that, Automagical does bring in those Google Docs automatically for you. I want to show you a PDF version as well now. So when you go in to Google Drive, first thing you want to do is bring in a PDF if you don't have one in there. So you'll go to File, Upload, and then find that PDF that you want to upload. So here you can see my PDF came in. Now I'm going to click on my unicorn first, because unlike the other time, when we went into the Google Doc, you had this bar here. If you open a PDF, you will not have your bar over to the right. So you want to select your unicorn first when you are looking at a PDF. When that unicorn opens, some of you may want to go to options and make sure that insert images is there if you have images on your multiple choice assessments. And once you've done that, then you're going to go select that PDF. Once you have clicked on that PDF, you will see the Automagical form doing its work. You must request permission so that it can access your PDF. Once you have done that, you do have the options to do something similar, like drawing on the file with the boxes. But if your PDF is formatted well, I recommend just using the Automatically button so that it will populate out your PDF questions, as you can see below. It has done that the same that it did for my Google Doc. You can deselect questions if you don't want them to be a part of the form. And then you are simply you can also edit questions. You have that option as well. Or you can just go to Create Form, as we did before. And then we will see in our Google Doc, or our Google Drive over here, that form populate itself. We will give it a second to do that. I'm going to refresh my Google Drive as it looks to have populated and then unpopulated itself. Oh, and I know why, because I had already opened it and then gone to delete it. So there is my Google form. And again, we would have to go into settings, make that a quiz, and then we would have to do this. Now, when you do create them with the PDF, it does create a folder. So instead of popping up down here like it did for Google Docs, it does create a folder called Automagical Forms Creations. So this is where you will begin to see the forms that populate from PDFs. So they do come in a different place, which is why we did not see that before. And that is a very quick version of Automagical. There are plenty of other tools and resources out there if you want to get fancy with it. We do have this resource for this school year currently for all of our teachers. So I highly recommend that you use it to get as many of your PDF or Google Doc multiple choice assessments converted over to Google Forms as you may wish to do. Because as soon as we lose that option, we won't be able to convert more. So again, right now we have it for a year. We may have the option for a second year, but I recommend getting as many converted during this school year as you can. If you need any help, let me know.